Yeah.
Alrighty, good afternoon, folks, and welcome to Smudcast number 430, Disney, Copyright Law, and Spider-Man. And as of course, there's a little pipe there, and it's Renegade Cut Day, even though we're a few days late for watching Renegade Cut videos because life gets in the way, and then we got tired, and then we got stressed, and then we said, why the hell would we ever want to catch up on watching Renegade Cut? And then we're like, yeah, it's a good idea. We shouldn't. And then it's like, no, we should probably stick to our format that we've been used to. So, yeah.
Well, we can't start doing Weeb Day and then forget all the other days, can we?
That's true. We got to go back to things that make us the worst possible reviews of all time. And that's Renegade Cut. And keep in mind, this is also Maggie the Fish Week, so you're getting another dosage of strange, weird opinions at the end of the week.
Hopefully, this cold/COVID kills me before then.
Sure, that's a great idea.
Well. No, but then, you'd probably just, bring me back as some CGI person.
You have met with a terrible fate.
You've met with COVID or Maggie May Fish? I'll take the COVID, please.
Oh, boy.
All right. Anyway, continue, Smud. Don't let me distract you.
I bet no one got that quote, but that's okay. Anyway, let's talk about the video. Let's see what we got. Came out, 2 years ago in August. Has not even 100,000 views. I guess his socialist audience doesn't really care about Disney and copyright law, which is interesting. So
there's going to be something about Donald Trump, isn't there?
So most of his viewers are actually subscribed to him because of his political takes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no other way.
Because I think I remember that occurrence 2 years ago when there was a young boy who died and the father wanted to put Spider-Man on the grave because that was the kid's favorite toy, superhero. And Disney said that no and take it down right now. Probably that's the relation.
Let's find out. 21 minutes of Renegade Cut. Oh boy.
How many minutes?
21 and a half.
Fuck me sideways. Watch.
Let's try to just coast through this as cleanly as possible.
So, earlier this month, news broke that Disney and Sony were no longer going to collaborate on Spider-Man movies. Negotiations had been shut down, and bit by bit it became less of a rumor and more of a confirmation by the studios and the stars of the movies. In 1999, Sony purchased the movie rights to Spider-Man from Marvel. The deal gave Sony exclusive film rights to the Spider-Man universe, meaning not only Peter Parker, but related characters like Aunt May, Venom, Dr. Octopus, etc. Marvel retained merchandise rights to the characters and could continue to feature them in comic books and cartoon series. Sony distributed Sam Raimi's beloved Spider-Man trilogy and less fondly remembered Mark Webb-helmed Amazing Spider-Man films. The deal continued after Disney purchased Marvel Lock, Stock, and Barrel in 2009. With the success of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the weak box office returns of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Sony and Disney arranged for Spider-Man to join the MCU for a 5-picture run. Sony would produce 2 Spider-Man movies that would feature unrelated MCU characters, as well as have Marvel Entertainment honcho Kevin Feige as one of the executive producers. And Spider-Man would appear in 3 unrelated Marvel films. That deal has concluded, as Spider-Man has appeared in Captain America Civil War, Spider-Man Homecoming, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, and finally Spider-Man Far From Home. The details of the previous deal are under lock and key, with some sources claiming that Disney received either 5% of the first day or total gross from Sony's Spider-Man movies, while others report that each company kept all the revenue from the films it was responsible for producing. Sony produced the solo Spider-Man films, and Disney produced Civil War and the Avengers movies. Both sides benefited and lost nothing. During renegotiation for the next deal following the end of the 5-picture arrangement, Disney reportedly proposed receiving a larger share of the profits from any future Spider-Man solo movies, as much as 50%. In exchange, they would pay half the production costs. This sounds fair at a glance until you compare production costs to the box office for these movies. Spider-Man Far From Home cost $160 million to make, but its worldwide box office was over $1 billion. Assuming the next Spider-Man solo movie costs a similar amount and makes a similar profit, Disney is asking to pay Sony $80 million so it can take $500 million from Sony's potential profit. Even if these numbers are a little off and don't take the marketing budget into account, this is an extremely bad deal for Sony. Disney has become so powerful in recent years that it's possible they thought Sony, or anyone for that matter, would be desperate to continue to do business with them. Nevertheless, fans of the Spider-Man films broadly sided with...
Even then, let's just say that the deal works out for both parties, as you said previously. What's wrong with taking $80 million?
Oh no, only 80 million. However will they survive?
Yeah, I'm not seeing a huge problem. Like, this is what contracts are all about. It doesn't matter. Oh, well, this company's getting, half of the proceeds and we're only getting half of the production value. It's like, so what? That's what you signed off on.
Yeah, but this is the problem. Everyone seems to think that deals are 50-50. That's not how this works in the corporate world.
Right. It's like,
if you get a 50-50 deal, you've done something really fucking good.
Well, when you're talking about entertainment, it's a little different than getting a license for something, because a license is like, here's our intellectual property, you can take it and do what you want, but there's all these reasons why you can't do certain things and why you can't get certain cuts. And it's like, okay, fine, we're going to take the risk along with that, and you're going to and they take most of the risk because it's their property. That property could be garbage, and it's turning garbage this past year.
Yeah.
So could have been great, but now it's just not as good. So what's the problem?
That's the thing. It's just one of those things where in business, because this is what it is, it's just business. One side gets to make the offer, and the other side has to see if it can take it or do a counter offer.
Yeah, and it's usually the ownership takes on the risks of whatever is the fruit of that production. And if it's popular, they make a lot of money. If it's not popular, they hopefully break even. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
It just so happens, I think the Spider-Man franchise is the last best part of post-Endgame Marvel movies.
Phase 4.
Whatever. I don't know. There's this crazy roadmap I don't understand. So,
Phase 4.
This is like a bunch of fans wanting to make a movie and saying, "Yeah, well, we'll give you a little bit of the proceeds, but it's mostly ours. So long as you're having fun making your movie, we're the guys who own everything." It's like, okay, we understand.
Yeah.
Sign on the dotted line. All right, that's what you wanted to do. Here you go. That's how business works. And if you don't like the deal, stop working, or take there's a severance package, not a severance package, but a severance clause, so that when you do quit, you have to pay a penalty or whatever if they don't like the deal. So these, of course, millions and millions of dollars. So it's like, all right, well, that's what you want to do. You're a production company. Not a big deal.
Disney over the divorce, insisting that Spider-Man was doomed now that Disney would no longer be associated with the character. Bear in mind that Disney did not create the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk were released in 2008. Disney didn't make the MCU. They bought the MCU by purchasing Marvel a year later in 2009. At some point, when fandom of a brand and company becomes a matter of faithfulness, and anything lost from that brand or company becomes a matter of treason, it is no longer fandom.
Treason to who or what? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I was just going to say, but...
Isn't that what the SJWs always tell us? That we have to love the thing because the title is on it?
I don't think he's using the right word here. Maybe they're not respecting the IP they bought. You could argue that, or they're not
like
doing
Star Wars?
They're not doing it justice, with Disney.
What treason?
Yeah, it's a strong word.
Yeah, for a Spider-Man movie.
It's the wrong word. Honestly, I have no idea what he's referring to exactly.
So it's treason then? You're like, what?
Spider-Man's not white enough? What? Oh.
I want to see the film where Spider-Man just stands there and just says, "So Palpatine's returned."
It's treason then.
Yes. And then Tony Stark spins in the air with a lightsaber. Yeah! Qui-Gon Stark. He gets stabbed through the chest.
Oh god.
I
need him.
And then what have I done? But it's like, Tom Holland says it instead.
It's only slightly better acted. Like, oh, great, thanks.
I can't do Tom Holland's accent though. I struggle with that one, even though he's English.
There are many dialects.
What have I done? Oh no, I can't do it. No.
Try to sound like half your age.
Oh, try to sound like half my age. Okay. I can't.
You have to be unshaved as well.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Like absolutely zero body hair.
Just hold your throat with your hand. Just like, oh.
My throat with it. He's fucking crazy. No, I can't do that.
All right, let's go.
It's corporate loyalty. Standing for a corporation is the very height of bootlicking. A deferential bowing to either amorphous corporate entities that, in spite of what the Supreme Court says, are not actually people, or to millionaire corporate executives who absolutely do not care about us. Sony is not the little guy.
Okay, maybe he's correct, but I don't, like, what is he referring to? Like, Disney doesn't care about us? About selling their products?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we know.
Disney
doesn't care about you. Yeah, I know. Welcome to the real world.
Yeah, does Sony care? Does Pixar care? Do all these production companies care? I mean, they're there to do a job, and if you like the product, and hopefully it sells well, that's about it. I don't think they care. I don't think anyone actually cares about the audience per se, like in a literal sense. They care about the product they're making is going to be good for the audience.
Yeah, seems very strange.
You could argue the focus test they care about, the quality test they care about, because all that work has to amount to something, or else they're not going to launch it. So that, there's lots of stories of video games, for example, never seeing the light of day because the producer or developer didn't like, it's not worth it. We spend all this time and money and we figured out no one likes it so far. So stuff like that I can understand, but they're doing everything for their public, just not in a literal one-to-one sense. It's like it's more of a focus group thing. So,
very weird, very strange.
Weird phrasing,
yeah. Oh well.
In this between itself from Disney. It's a massive corporation. It's only small by comparison, and certainly no less innocent. However, Sony should not be seen as the bad guy either, especially considering the incredible arrogance of Disney to demand Sony lose half the box office to its most successful property. This is particularly galling considering how successful Sony has been without its association to Disney. 2018's Venom went on to gross more than $850 million at the box office, and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse beat Disney at the Academy Awards. While Disney played a role...
So
winning the Academy Awards means fuck all.
Yeah, a bunch of guys in suits saying, "Yeah, we should give these awards to these people." Like, yeah, so
yeah, and also Venom got $800 million. Okay,
it made money.
Therefore, it's good, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, look at that. That one movie Sony made this amount of money. Yeah, what about all the movies that they've made that suck?
How much money did Venom 2 make?
Oh.
It made at least
I know that
$1.
it had like a very short time in the cinema here, like a week or two.
Yeah.
That was...
I saw a trailer for Venom in the cinema, and I went, hold on, that date's passed.
Yes.
When I was like, oh right, okay. Never saw it, and I was like, oh right, okay. And no one I've known has spoken of it, so I don't know anyone who's actually watched it.
I know Botan watched it because she
Oh.
keeps drawing about it.
Yeah, but apart from that, but I don't like anyone that I know in real life.
Yeah, that came out like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. I can't remember.
A month, I believe.
Over a month ago in the UK, especially.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. All these films I'm never going to see.
Yeah, but it's just saying, yeah, Venom made this amount of money. Okay. What else has Sony made that's made money? You're like,
400 million worldwide, Mark.
I mean, if you're going to talk about the unfairness of contract law because of property owners, it's like they have every right to make any kind of contract with any other sub entity. It doesn't they have every right, and the sub entity could say no and walk away at any time. So, what's the problem here?
Yeah.
It's all legal. It's all negotiated. This is totally normal stuff. So,
in shaping Spider-Man lately, all recent Spider-Man pictures, Homecoming, Far From Home, Into the Spider-Verse, and Venom, if you count it as a Spider-Man movie, were produced in-house by Sony Pictures. I'm not too interested in cheerleading a corporation, but objectively speaking, Sony made a smart move by refusing to cede more control of its most valuable movie property. But try telling that to the corporate loyalists, some of whom are demanding Disney buy Sony to gain exclusive movie rights to the character, and some of whom are apparently ready to storm Sony offices to demand Spider-Man be reintegrated.
Yes, I
Do
agree.
it. Do it. Give us fun headlines and videos.
Hold on. I agree, Renegade Cut. You shouldn't just storm places for things you believe in. I agree with that. Exactly. I 100% agree. Just because you believe in something doesn't give you the right to storm buildings.
so anyway, I'm a corporate lawyer.
Anyway, I'm an anarchist now.
Another reference.
The guy's a raging communist, and he's complaining about people storming Sony headquarters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because it's
so-
something that he likes.
What-
When it's something he likes,
can you imagine-
it's
Consistency
wrong
wasn't
to storm
always
the
his
authority.
Can you imagine a bunch of fans storming a office demanding they get their entertainment? It's like, come on. Who would do this?
We want Spider-Man.
The best thing I remember was still from the BioWare fans who gave all those cupcakes. And the people who were working at the time, realizing, that we have to do more work, said, we're not going to eat the cupcakes. It's going to taste too ironic. I think that it was going to taste like sadness or something like that. There was like the head programmer at the time saying it's going to taste like defeat or some weird phrase like that. I have to read the article one more time. But that's the
Was
way.
that before Mass Effect 3?
That was after Mass Effect 3, and they were making the final cut or the extended cut.
Yeah, the extended cut. Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
And that's when they got the campaign for people to take back.
Yeah, it was from a group called Hold the Line.
Hold the line. Yeah, they did that video. They had 70 people or so all giving their response why they hated the ending and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And they did the best thing. They gave food. They said, "Here's," and all BioWare did was just donate it to wherever. So,
I was part of that group, actually.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah. Yeah, surprisingly, it's where I first saw your videos. But yeah, it was a whole community thing. Yeah, they sent it all over, sent all the cupcakes over, and they used to do a lot of videos and stuff like that. But we got really bad-mouthed. We were
Right. That was the argument about creative intent.
artistic integrity.
Yeah.
That was the phrase that was used, and it was a bit like it was Mac and Casey's artistic integrity, and if they changed anything, it was destroying all that.
Well,
And then it leaked that Mac wrote it on one piece of paper quickly in an afternoon, and it was like, right. So they just rushed it.
in reality, there's no way people are going to storm the offices in Edmonton, Alberta, of BioWare in the winter when it's negative 30 degrees centigrade.
They wouldn't even storm it in the summer.
Yeah.
No one's going to storm anything. Remember when everyone was going to storm Area 51? Yeah, that was a thing. No one stormed anything. Everyone's too lazy.
They did storm it, like a few of them.
Well, it's a desert. I don't know what they're going to do.
I bet half the people who were storming it were just lost. And they're like, oh my god, a place to go.
Yeah, well.
I'm not going to die here.
What was that guy's name who wrote that, or had that biopic about him, Lazar? That guy who actually worked in Area 51?
Bob Lazar.
Bob Lazar, yeah. That's interesting. That's fascinating, but, bunch of people via...
Bob Lazar? Is that a relative of Ram Lazar?
No, but it's kind of weird how close the names are.
Well, did, Red Letter Media make that joke as well?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Bob Lazar is really, weird, because it's he's, nuts, but also the stuff he's saying is, why would he make it up? Then it's but he could make it up. But
it's stuff that it was just one part of his life, like 2 years or whatever, and he just moved on with his life. But everyone was obsessed with the UFO concepts and the stuff he saw and the technology he was talking about, and wild stuff. What's the documentary on Netflix called again? I can't remember, but
I couldn't tell you, but I'm probably going to look it up because I probably want to rewatch it.
He was on Joe Rogan, I think, a year ago or two.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Crazy stuff. Anyway, no one's going to storm the offices of Sony, okay?
I think Joe Rogan asked him if he'd ever tried weed before.
Well, he asked everyone.
But then again, that's literally the only thing. Yeah, that was the joke. But carry on.
All right.
Into their precious MCU. Here's a hot take for these loyalists. The only reason Disney is squabbling over the movie rights to Spider-Man is because Disney completely fucked up copyright law, which itself was already fucked up and worked far more in
why do you
favor
bleep
of
that when I can hear the word
corporations
anyway?
over labor.
It's just ear rape.
Creating, inventing, or naming something is making intellectual property. Intellectual property is intangible creations of the mind that can be legally protected. If a pharmaceutical company...
God, that music.
Is this the actual definition?
Everything.
Let me just look this up.
I'd rather doubt it. I'd rather doubt that that's the actual definition of intellectual property.
Let's see. A work or invention that is a result of creativity, such as a manuscript or a design to which one has rights, for which one may apply for a patent, copyright, trademark. So it's an actual manuscript or design.
So it's not an intangible creation of the mind. What the...
Maybe there's another definition I'm missing, but I've never heard it described that way. So, I don't know.
But an intangible creation, shouldn't it be tangible?
Yeah, if you don't have something physical, there's nothing to actually patent.
I have created warp speed, but it's an intangible creation of my mind. Give me money, please.
Yeah, like a writer makes a book, a musician makes a piece of music. You still have to write the sheet music. Like, you can't just play it. And even if you do, you're going to record it and you're going to sell it.
Yeah.
It's still a product. There's something to sell. It's not just, I have an idea.
Yeah.
And no one hears about it.
I have this idea.
Yeah.
Okay, are you going to tell us? Well, no. It's an intangible idea. Right.
It's legally protected.
Yeah, it's like if Einstein never published his work on relativity. It's like...
No, it's just Einstein's like that. E equals, and he went, figure out yourself. It's an intangible idea. Give me money. What? Renegade Cut, you honestly...
Strange definition. I don't know why he used that one. Little confusing, but okay. It's fine.
But it's not fine.
It's maybe it's a real definition somewhere.
Because it's wrong. No, because it's wrong.
He used an obscure definition from somewhere. I don't know where. Whatever. That's fine. I don't care.
His brain.
Comes up with a formula for a new pill. The intellectual property is not the physical pill, but the formula one uses to create it.
Yeah, and you write that down in a some sort of scientific experiment or paper that you publish, and you say, look, this is the chemical for whatever, and I can't give you the rest of the details because that's trademarked. So you say, here's the basic formula. Then there's processes I'm not sure. It's the same thing they do with petroleum refining in the States, that they have a series of recipes and practices that we don't get in Canada, which is why there's this whole thing in Alberta where we pipe down all of our, not all of it, but a lot of our oil to the States because they have refineries which then produce the proper unleaded fuel for cars and vehicles and what have you. So it's this whole process of transport, refining, coming back to Canada, and we get to sell our own petrol to whoever. So there is intellectual property and recipes and procedures on all kinds of things. And that's trade secrets. That's, baking bread. There's all kinds of things. So, but it's not some idea, as far as I know. It's an actual physical thing that you write down, like concrete or something like that. Anyway, I got to find more definitions for IP to say it's an intangible creation. Because when I deal with IP, I'm in marketing. We have a logo, we have trademarks, we have copyright, we have all kinds of things. And you can get a lot of trouble if you do not have the right material, the right copy when you publish something. So those are all tangible things. Anyway.
The pill itself is an intellectual property act. In superhero terms, a physical Spider-Man comic is property, but the idea that Stan Lee and Steve Ditko had when creating Spider-Man is intellectual property. Spider-Man is owned, now across different media, through a variety of intellectual property rights. And a copyright shields artistic expression against copying by others. Another form of intellectual property rights is contractual rights, meaning licensing the right to use someone else's invention.
Sure.
That's how Sony gained the film rights to Spider-Man in 1999. Marvel sold them exclusive film rights via contract, but Marvel, now Disney, still retains rights to Spider-Man in its original form, comic books. In an economic system which depends on disparity between economic classes, the copyright system will, more often than...
I'm sorry, what?
Well, there's nothing wrong with Marvel keeping the rights to having comic books. Like,
Yeah, but I get that. I just want to know why he's talking about the disparity between economic classes.
He had to shove in his politics somehow. I was like,
Yeah.
when is he gonna do it? When is he gonna well, fuck this?
But why?
what is the economic disparity between two mega companies who...
Yeah, between Marvel and Sony,
Yeah.
Sony is of the people, and what? No.
multi-million-dollar company, this multi-billion-dollar company. It's like, yeah, one of those.
Yeah. Who is more communist, comrade? We celebrate with them. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ.
The majority of Spider-Man's suit is red, just like my favorite party. The Republicans.
The Canadians.
The Canadians.
The right-wing Canadians.
I just found out my lieutenant governor is going to say the throne speech in her native Indian tongue. It's fantastic.
A native Indian tongue.
Native American tongue. Well, she's technically of some Indian tribe, but
Oh, right.
It's like, I love having the Queen being represented by Native American voice. It's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
None of us care.
It's brilliant. It's like, Canada, what are you doing? Stop that. Oh boy.
Please stop this.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, what's happening this year?
Oh God. It's just... No, why they won't be able to speak to the Queen? She's gone to her hibernation period in the UK.
All right, she doesn't come out till December the 27th. What is it, 27th? She comes out for the New Year speech. What is that?
I don't know. She does a Christmas speech.
Right.
Maybe those Christmas speeches were pre-recorded.
They probably are pre-recorded. But she looks perfectly okay. But for some reason, I think she's gone. I think she's like hiding, not hiding, but she's not doing any public appearances and stuff until the new year now.
Yeah.
So it's like her hibernation period. She just goes back to her cave in the hills.
Oh yeah, she has that train, that amazing train. She just drives all the way out there.
Goes way up to Scotland, hides away with the corpses of all the poor children, and she just feasts for another year. It comes out in the spring, fresh and new.
Okay. 7 minutes. Oof.
Alright, we're actually getting through this quite quickly, really.
Yeah, I know. This is the first time
Well,
we
he
had a
barely
wrap
has
up.
anything to say.
Well, the first time Renegade Cut revealed himself talking about classes or something. I don't know.
The class system of Disney.
And Disney and Sony. Like, okay.
Yep.
Often than not, fit those with more capital and resources. Those who can hire the best lawyers, those who can drag something out in court without the risk of going bankrupt due to mounting legal bills. That's
What?
why the copyright system, even though it can be utilized by anyone, benefits corporations more than it benefits
Did
individuals.
they sue each other or something we're not aware of that this would ever happen?
No, he's talking about how big companies can bully the little person into selling their intellectual property.
Yeah, but we went from Sony and Disney to saying they have enough, or Disney has enough money to protect themselves if Sony ever wants to sue them for something. It's like, what? It's in the contract. If you have disparities, you there's a clause in the contract to deal with those issues when they pop up. That's why contracts are so big and thick when you have millions of dollars on the line.
Especially something as public as a Spider-Man movie contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not seeing the problem here, but okay.
This isn't something that's happening only in the background.
I think he's trying to say that the copyright laws are against the little person.
The little person that is Sony.
Yes.
No. But but the little person in general.
But he did say that in the last few seconds, so...
Yeah, he's like the little person in general doesn't can't go these long things against big corporations.
Anyway, back in Soviet Russia.
Like yeah,
Where we don't have copyright law or bread in general.
when you eat the actual forms you fill in.
Individual artists and inventors. Intellectual property law has existed for centuries, but it began to change in the United States during the 20th century. Disney has long fought to ensure that the copyright license to Mickey Mouse continues for as long as possible. In 1998, Disney lobbied to overhaul the copyright system to retroactively extend everything created between 1923 and 1977 to a staggering 95-year term. They were successful, so much in fact that the law is sometimes pejoratively called the Mickey Mouse Law. Due to this, Mickey Mouse, at least as depicted in Steamboat Willie, is safely protected under Disney until 2023. Everyone involved in the creation of the Steamboat Willie cartoon short is dead.
Oh no!
Good for them. Does anyone care?
Well, in the UK, patents are done for 100 years.
Right, and that's why we have the example of Edgar Allan Poe's works and A.C. Doyle's. Anyone can write stuff about Arsène Lupin or Sherlock Holmes, and you're free to do so. But
yeah,
is anyone counting the days till 2023 so they could make animations about classic Mickey Mouse?
No.
It's not
But maybe Renegade Cut wants to do that. Like that was his dream. That I'm gonna make a YouTube channel and I'm gonna
use the
make my Steamboat Willie edits
If anyone was like,
about how
damn,
Mickey Mouse destroys capitalism.
no, it's like that. Damn, I've got to wait till 2023. I guess I'll just turn to a communist for a couple of years just to pass some time.
I guess his big bald head was too much of an avatar. He wanted
But it's like, oh no, they've done it for 95 years, right? Everyone who's ever made Steamboat Willie is dead. Okay, they're all dead. Okay, everyone who knew what communism's on about is dead. Everyone who wrote the Communist Manifesto is dead. And yet here we are.
Incredible. time, the concept? Who made it?
Oh boy.
Karl Marx is dead. You still follow what he said and does. His stuff is still,
When I first heard of Renegade Cut, he was using the Disco Elysium avatar. I was like, oh, okay, that's a very niche video game title. And then he just went back to his head. So.
Yeah. Well, we all.
Of course, he did. The game's made by communists. That's why he loves it. They have a painting of Stalin in their office.
It was a great, funny game because they do talk about capitalism and all that other fun class struggle stuff, but it's mostly tongue in cheek. So.
Oh, that's what you think. I bet they think it's super serious and real.
Really?
I can't say, but look. Every time a communist tries to explain us what they want to do and the problems they see and the solutions to them, it sounds absolutely bonkers. So we think they're just joking because nobody could ever think that to be real. It's just like Nazi occultism.
Yeah.
Like somebody tells you that, you think, oh, you're joking. You're just telling nonsense. You would never believe that these people mean this stuff. It's like someone trying to tell you about the flat Earth or the hollow Earth that's filled with dinosaurs and zombie Nazis.
It could explain why he changed his avatar.
The rogue planet that's cursing through our solar system at a weird angle and once collided with Earth, and that's how humans came here, or some nonsense like that.
I always try to explain the game like it's an offshoot of Planescape Torment in terms of dialogue. Like there's so many nuances to talking, and you could fail a conversation and you still can continue on with the story just fine, even though it's mostly this crazy landscape in your brain of persona, and it's just brilliant. And
yeah, there is something to it, no question.
Yeah, but to take the one element of politics is like, that's like one of like 6 or 7 different themes throughout the story, which is not that prevalent in the setting. It's a kind of a joke with some of the characters. So, yeah, I don't know. The odd guy. But that's the one thing I'm like, okay, he's a smart fellow. Then you listen to his videos, you're like, oh dear. Not what I was expecting. Anyway, 8 minutes in. Everyone's losing their shit because they can't get copyright access to
Steamboat fucking Village.
Yeah.
And the assumption that the Disney company should still be the owner of Mickey Mouse for all time tells us a lot about how we have been fooled into viewing corporations as people. It also tells us a lot about the commodification of even intangible things, like ideas. As for Spider-Man, the web-slinger won't become public domain until 2057.
Oh no.
If Disney had not lobbied politicians to extend copyright, Spider-Man would have entered public domain on January 1st, 2019, this year. Disney would have been free to make as many Spider-Man movies as it desired. The news that Spider-Man would no longer be able to interact with characters that are the intellectual property of Disney created a lot of misinformation on social media when it broke. Most notably the idea that this meant that the Tom Holland version of Spider-Man was about to be snapped out of existence. This is untrue. The movies Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame are the property of Disney, but Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home are the property of Sony. Holland has a deal with Sony, not Disney.
Okay.
Holland and Sony have both confirmed that he is under contract for more movies, and that there is no reason for a reboot. The story will continue, presumably where it left off in Far From Home. This misinformation is the likely result of the aforementioned corporate loyalty for Disney. The idea that if Disney no longer has access to Spider-Man, then Spider-Man may as well cease to exist. Sony still owns the movie rights to Spider-Man. Peter Parker in the MCU was an arrangement, not a handover or buyout. Sony would have no interest in rebooting Spider-Man with such a proven winner on its hands, particularly after so many other potential franchises failed to catch fire.
That's my face listening to Renegade Cut right now. Just melting. Right.
So Sony would never want to reboot the thing that made them a lot of money?
Yeah, alright then. They've done it twice already. But okay.
Why wouldn't they? Oh, now they have freedom to do whatever they want with the IP because it's no longer protected. So, do you think other companies are going to try doing that? They could try, but they're going to come across as second rate.
Yeah. Well, so things going into the public domain aren't always a great thing. Just pushing it out there.
I always give the example of Sherlock Holmes because there's so many stories that weren't that good. There's been cartoons. There's been good writers that took the character and made one short story, and they're fantastic. Like Neil Gaiman did a great one. So you can get short story anthologies of an IP that works very well in a very creative, very minimal element. If you do a big thing,
I've seen Sherlock Holmes punch a dinosaur. Being in the public domain ain't that great.
Yeah, if you do a big thing, like the BBC took Sherlock Holmes and did their own thing, but they try to modernize Sherlock, it's like, oh, what a great idea. And it started off like, oh, this is new and fresh. And then you watch it for the season, and you're like, something's a bit off. I don't know what. And then you find out the next season, like, oh, yeah, okay, this is not good anymore.
Well, the fact that they've made Sherlock Holmes just to control people with their mind.
Well, they try to give him all these psychological functioning sociopath, whatever they call them, all this other stuff. You're like, okay, that wasn't totally necessary. You didn't have to do all this crazy stuff to modernize the APA terms to make sense of Sherlock. Can't you just be a really smart guy?
Yeah. But yeah, no, that series just
Some of the side
should have
stories
ended in series 2.
Yeah, I always compare the BBC version to was it Canadian or American with what's her name?
Elementary.
Elementary. Yeah, I can't remember. What was her
Lucy
name?
Liu.
Lucy Liu.
Lucy Liu.
That was actually pretty good. I actually enjoyed that. There were times I didn't like it, but as a whole, they did very well job, a very good interpretation, and they made Sherlock more human without making him this crazy, quirky weirdo.
Is it Johnny Lee Miller? Is it something?
I don't know.
Is that the actor who played him? Yeah, possible. Because Benedict Cabbage Patch played him in the BBC one.
It's Johnny Lee Miller. Yeah, you got it.
Oh, did it? Oh, look at that. I don't know how I remember that name.
Yeah, all it takes is good writing. Like, this is the secret sauce to everything in media and in fiction and movies. You could argue some movies need more special effects and visuals, of course, because they're a visual medium. But
Sherlock Holmes doesn't need that.
Yeah, Sherlock, make it clever. If you're a smart guy and can write smart stories, do Sherlock Holmes. See what you can do.
Smart.
You heard it here first, Ryan. You can't write Sherlock Holmes. Anyway.
Here's Mariner1712. Thank you for the 10, sir. Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century as a cartoon is better than it really has any right to be, probably because it's basically pulp like the original really was. I do recall seeing one episode of that, and I was confused as hell. So I was like, what is happening?
Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century. Oh my god. Might give that a look.
Yeah, it's cool. It is a cool show, but it's weird. Got a good voice actor for it. So,
eyes and brains, Moriarty. Eyes and brains.
Yeah.
I assume it's a line from it.
Well,
yes.
All the interesting shows came out the late '90s in cartoons for me. So that was like I wasn't into Sherlock then just yet, but I was watching Gargoyles.
They were doing a lot of those because I remember there was a cartoon series about Zorro in the future.
Yeah, they had James Bond Jr. or whatever, like all weird stuff. That was what was that crazy one? Brave Star. Talking
Brave
horse.
Star was great.
I know, it's just crazy, wild stuff. Like that was actually the early '90s, I think. Or was it late '80s? Yeah, I think it was even later than that. So there's all kinds of weird, crazy, fun stuff for kids, which were clever.
Was it called? What was it? Right, this channel in the UK was called Fox Kids, and it had all those crazy cartoons on it.
Yep. We had Fox Kids in Canada. Yeah.
Oh right. I thought I was just a fever dream that I had, but no, it's true. that actually existed. Yeah, there was loads of weird ones on it.
Yeah, so it's really about that creative spark and the writer or inventor of the thing saying, okay, I want to treat this well. And they put their heart into it. And you can tell. The same with, we talk about Cowboy Bebop, why it's so good, amalgamation of genres that had to work a certain way, and why the characters are so simple. Like there's depth to them, but there's just enough depth to get the rest of the elements working. If Spike was more complicated, if Faye was more complicated, if Ed was more complicated, there wouldn't be enough time to explain why and how. It would just be weird. There'd be like these weird, mysterious fellows just running around. How could they do all these things? Like it's just enough that Spike knows martial arts, and he somehow is good at flying. He's somehow good at gambling. We just don't know. Like, okay, maybe he's part of the syndicate. Maybe he was taught those skills and developed them there. Like this is just enough for you to buy it. But if he could start doing like, I don't know, like weightlifting or something,
the conference.
I don't know, like lock picking, something really complicated that is a little specific. It'd be like, okay, why would a hitman need to know all these things? Like, what's going on here?
Oh, by the way, I was looking up some clips of the Cowboy Bebop live action,
Oh,
and I saw the scene with what was it, Ed?
Oh yeah,
Everything, and oh my god, I thought the Lost Sessions teaser was cringe. I watched that scene and I was like, oh my fucking god.
The best part about that scene is that like it happens right after Spike falls out from the cathedral.
Yeah.
But that's the follow-up scene.
Girl, I had a bounty for you. Like, oh Jesus Christ, kid, please stop.
Yeah, her name's Eden Perkins, and she had an interview recently with Polygon. So it's like, oh, she has like a very minor role in the whole series. It's like, what? Okay, interview her over that, sure, why not?
I just saw it and I was just like, oh dear Lord. Oh no. I felt like I was watching someone off their meds. Like,
it felt like a 4-year-old girl. It sounded like a 4-year-old girl acting up.
Yeah.
Here's Mariner 1712 again. Been listening to Doc Salvage Pulps. All right. Doc Savage is great. All kinds of great pulps out there. Anyway, back to Sony being the poor little man who can't do anything because evil copyright.
The poor little company that couldn't.
The only appreciable difference between what would have been the next solo Spider-Man movie and what is going to be the next solo Spider-Man movie is that it can't reference or feature characters that are the intellectual property of Disney. But that does not actually kneecap the film. In the next Spider-Man movie, Spidey's adventures can continue largely uninterrupted. Iron Man can no longer be part of the Spider-Man movies since he's the property of Disney, but that character was killed off in Avengers Endgame. He couldn't feature anyway. And Nick Fury and Maria Hill, well, weren't actually Nick Fury and Maria Hill, were they? Which means Spider-Man has no meaningful relationship with either of them that could carry over into the next...
Is he saying that's not Nick Fury?
Yes, it's revealed at like the end of the movie that it turns out like it was those aliens. They were shape-shifting into them. And they were just like following Nick Fury's orders while he was on a vacation in space.
Okay.
It's really dumb.
I don't watch these films, but I'm like, all right, whatever. Sounds like a comic book to me.
Wow, okay. What the fuck? What the fuck is this? Okay.
Oh, boy.
Also, like, this has, like, no value at all, because we know that, like, none of this shit happened, because, like, the newest Spider-Man movie that's gonna come out is having none of these problems at all.
Yeah,
like, it's cooperation between Disney and Sony.
Yeah.
Once again.
Yeah,
It's like they can make another contract. Wow.
It's
Mr.
like,
Businessman.
Does Renegade Cut thing for all these contracts require all the Disney executives to like cut their hands and blood packs and everything? And it's like, no, they just have to sign a couple of papers.
We must watch Steamboat Willie for
You
the
know,
10th time.
Yeah, if they wanted to sign up with another production house, I mean, they could.
Do it.
I don't see it stopping them.
Netflix.
Netflix, yeah, please give us Spider-Man. Like, why? We gave you other things. They could do it though. It's up to them. Like, I don't really care, but fine.
Yeah.
Do what you want with your stuff. No one cares.
Anyway, the only noticeable difference between what would have been the next Spider-Man movie and what will be the next Spider-Man movie in terms of rights and intellectual property is Happy Hogan. Happy is a character owned wholly by Disney, which means unless some new deal is brokered, he will not be making an appearance in the next solo Spider-Man
But
movie.
he's also an actor.
That's it. In terms of characters, Happy will be the only noticeable change. And though the flirtations between Happy and Aunt May probably got a few laughs from the audience, it should not be controversial to say that nobody bought a ticket for either movie to see Happy Hogan.
Okay.
Even when with the Avengers, Spider-Man forged no meaningful relationships with any characters besides Iron Man, who, once again, is now dead.
Okay.
Spider-Man lifts out of the MCU better than almost any other major character. This does not require very much screenwriting surgery at all. Another complaint among Disney's corporate loyalists is that it was somehow Disney itself that made the Homecoming and Far From Home movies as good as they were. This is a mischaracterization of the process that went into the creation of both of these movies.
So they're good?
Homecoming and Far From Home are not Disney movies. They are Sony movies. Sony did not hand over the creation of the solo Spider-Man movies to Disney and simply reaped all the reward. That would not make good financial sense for Disney. Kevin Feige of Marvel Entertainment was one of the executive producers of both films, but the other executive producer was Amy Pascal, former chairperson of the Motion Pictures Group of Sony Pictures Entertainment and co-chair of SPE in general, including Sony Pictures Television. Her other recent producer credits include the Academy Award-winning Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and the Best Picture Academy Award nominee, The Post, directed by Steven Spielberg. In fact, Pascal Pictures, founded and owned by Pascal herself, was one of the 3 production houses credited with creating Homecoming and Far From Home. The other 2 being Columbia Pictures, which is a subsidiary of Sony, and of course Marvel Studios under Disney. Homecoming and Far From Home were also financed in-house by Sony, not Disney. Disney did not write the Tom Holland solo Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, we got that.
By a series of hired gun screenwriters, and since Sony fronted the bill for both movies, the screenwriters were under the employ of Sony, not Disney. Both pictures were directed by John Watts, who until then
And not
never
Disney.
had any major dealings with either Sony or Disney.
There it is.
Characterizing
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. This is really not doing my headache any good.
Yeah, so guys, in case you haven't figured out, Sony took on all the risks, did all the work, and Disney's like, okay, sure, yeah, here, make sure you do a good job.
It's almost like gambling on the stock market. Like, you get all the profits, and then the government takes the goods.
Yeah,
I don't see the problem. Like, he's just, it's not Disney, it's Sony. It's like, yeah, they signed up for this. What's your point?
yeah, they had a contract.
I'm not seeing the problem.
Yeah, the contract.
It's the same with any sort of one of those murder mystery stories from the BBC. They ask the writer, can we use your license? And the estate or the writer, whoever owns the IP, goes, yes, under these conditions. The BBC takes all the risks of hiring people and making sure it's attractive and people are going to watch it and da-da-da-da-da. And the estate, whoever's in charge, gets the royalty.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. I see nothing wrong with this.
Homecoming and Far From Home as Disney movies is incredibly disingenuous.
Why?
The popular perception of Disney as a monolith in the industry leads to the assumption that Disney was responsible for Homecoming and Far From Home, even though that is demonstrably untrue. They obviously had...
Yeah, but who's saying this, and why is that an important argument? We know it's not Disney. They hold the license, and they're paying other third parties to do the work. That's fine. What's wrong with subcontracting? I don't see the problem here. Oh boy, it's like you have a design firm and they make designs, and then you have the developer. What was that?
Sorry, like, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, you have design firms, you have production companies, then you have like third parties who do other whatever specialist jobs. It's like you subcontract the production company, and they give out a contract to a design company to design the thing so they can build it and they can deliver it to you. Whatever that, it could be a cake, it could be a house, it could be whatever. Doesn't matter. This is how it works.
It feels like he's trying to describe like a sweatshop.
I don't know what he's just. It's like they contracted out to a company called Sony, and Sony did all the work. It's like, and what's your point?
Like, is like Sony doing child labor for Disney or what?
It's like if you want to run a business, let's say you're a barber, you don't make the scissors. You buy them from someone who makes barber scissors, and you buy shampoo from the whatever conglomerate who makes soap. Like, it's like, what's wrong with that? That's how you get resources and capital and have a profitable business. You cut your costs by buying in bulk and all a bunch of other stuff. Like, what problem here?
Yeah, I know. It's just
because it wasn't done by Disney.
Does one company have to do everything?
Yes.
Does McDonald's have to own the ranch and the butchery?
No. Disney has to own McDonald's.
Yeah.
It's like, no, but Sony did it. You're like, what?
Yeah.
So you can no longer say that they have product placements because they own everything.
It's a strange argument. Like industry doesn't work like there's one monolith like Disney who does everything. No one's ever said, like, how do you think that even works? They just have animators like in their basement, and we have Pixar.
Work harder, work faster, less pay.
Like Pixar came out of their womb or something. Like, no, Pixar was an independent company, got bought out. Now they're part of the wing of Disney, and they do 3D stuff. Good for them.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? I don't get it.
Weird.
Here's a boatload of money, Pixar. We want to own you. Okay. Can we still make Pixar movies? Yeah. Sure. Okay. Great. Everyone's happy. Ugh.
Hand in it, but were not primarily responsible. Furthermore, overestimating Disney's control over Homecoming and Far From Home shows a misunderstanding about how common it is for a motion picture's primary producer and distributor contracting help from other production houses, splitting domestic and worldwide distribution, etc. Corporate loyalists tend to lionize Kevin Feige as this supreme being who is solely responsible, or at least chiefly responsible, for why the Marvel Studios movies are good.
Okay, so this is funny, because you can make the same argument about, let's say, Obama catching Osama bin Laden. And the order was given years and years ago before he saw office. But he's the one given credit, because that's the time he was in office. So I have no problems with that. I don't care. He has no problem. No one. Why would you have? Well, really, the order was given back in 2003. It's like, yeah.
Would he complain if someone said, it wasn't really, Stalin that started the Communist Revolution in Russia?
Yeah. It was really Marx. He's the guy who started it all. Like, what?
It was actually, it had nothing to do with Disney. It was actually Sony that started the Communist Revolution in...
Yeah, for whatever reason, Kevin Feige put his faith in Sony. Good for him.
Yeah. Great. Wonderful.
So it was under his purview. So we credit him. Fine. Good for Sony too. I mean, good for everyone. Everyone made money. Everyone's happy. Go down the list of creativity. Who's in charge? I don't care.
And if that is true, then that is the only reason that Homecoming and Far From Home were good. There are two problems with this line of thinking. One is that filmmaking is a collaborative process and that motion pictures are the result of the labor of a great many people. Frequently in film discourse, the director is deified as the sole motivator of a film, which it's...
He's the guy in charge.
Yeah, he's the boss, man. Why?
What? This is strange. It's like, yeah, there's hundreds of people involved in a movie production. We get it, yes. But the guy with the vision, the producer, the director, they're the ones who love the thing or put the most effort in, and with the vision, and get all the people together. They get everyone up on time and do the scene together, and they cut it up.
Why is this lead writer getting all the credit when there's other writers? Well, because they're the person. What? Okay.
This is so funny. Like, do you understand how movies are made? Yeah, but there's so many people involved. Like, no shit.
Wow, it's crazy.
Are you going to give the credit to the guy holding the camera or the guy holding the lighting rig?
It's like giving an Oscar to the guy who holds the hose in the rain scene. Yeah, we get it. There's people who do that. There's very easy jobs when making films.
Yeah, like when you look at films or TV shows by the writing of Neil Gaiman, you go, wow, I mean, I really admire the director and the actors and all the musicians, like all the work that was put into it. But it all comes from Neil Gaiman's vision. So you go, wow, this writer's amazing, and this interpretation of your writing is amazing. And we learn later that Neil Gaiman was heavily involved in the directing of all these, because for whatever reason they put him on the set. They didn't have to, but he's involved with he has a lot of creative control under his own work, which is brilliant, because that's what you should do with the original guy who made the damn thing. So that's why they're so good. And if you don't like the writing, that's fine. Neil Gaiman's not for everyone. So why
is everyone still praising Gene Roddenberry? He's been dead for years.
I know. Why? Why does everyone love Gene? I don't get it.
Because he wanted dolphins on the Enterprise in wonderful glass-covered canals in the corridors, so that the crew could talk with the sentient dolphins.
Well, I'm trying. There's actually
that is true.
I think it was Peter David. He did it. Was it either The Devil's Heart or Imzadi? And he put those dolphins in his novellas. So
good man.
Yeah, no, I was like, this is fun. And there's this whole story, this backstory, the culture of the dolphin, alien species, and there's a ritual that one of the female dolphins die as representatives. All this crazy stuff. But
I love that. I love the telling of this just creates silence.
Yeah, I know. It's such a geeky thing. I remember from my childhood reading.
Because it's real.
Yeah, this is what writers do. They take ideas and they go, I'll run with that. Sure, why not?
Oh, he really wanted that on set. And they had no idea how to do it. And
it was so hard. Wacky. It was so hard. Like, can you imagine a CGI dolphin running around in this anti-gravity bubble?
There is no CGI dolphin in TNG season 1. It's too early.
Well, honestly, like, that's not Roddenberry's worst idea ever. When we compare that scene when Kirk reads the Constitution to those. Wow.
He also wanted a giant pool on the Enterprise and a theme park. Oh, God. You got holodecks, dude.
Yeah.
Itself is problematic, but it's telling the growing influence of corporate loyalty in our society that the director has been supplanted as the perceived creative head of the film in the popular consciousness of the moviegoers. Corporate loyalists are now more likely to give credit to an amorphous brand or to a producer, a position that is historically more of a corporate overseer.
Renegade Cut, that is exactly what your ideological, zealous friends wanted of all of us. Why do you complain about it now? Did someone heard something that you like when it was announced that, Whedon wants to make a Buffy remake where Buffy is played by a black girl, and suddenly Anita Sarkeesian, the super progressive scam artist, shrieked and recoiled in pain. She said, "No, don't remake that. Remake everything else, but don't remake that. Don't make Buffy black."
Imagine
that was Anita Sarkeesian.
Imagine you have an agency, like I work in agency life, so you have account holders who deal directly with clients. And the clients, when they get what they want, they thank the account holder for their work, even though the account holder didn't do dick, because they're the ones they talk to. They haven't talked to the developer or the CEO or the designer, but they did all the work. They did all the sales. They did all the marketing. They did the actual development. They designed they designed the solution for the problem. So they don't see that behind the scenes. So they just say, "Thank you, account holder, for taking care of my needs whenever I have a problem and talking to me." And, like, that's what you do. Like, you just say thank you for the work you did. But obviously the guys behind the scenes did all the heavy lifting, and that's fine. That's what a job is. This guy's like, well, clearly the guy holding the camera did all the camera work. It's like, no shit.
Yeah. Yeah, we know that. Why is he not getting praised? Why? What?
Stand here and zoom in. It's like, thank you. Yes. Okay.
And cut. It's like, yeah, there's not much to stop filming, Brian, or something. Renegade Cut, honestly.
There's
well,
lots of
all
reasons.
this corporate stuff.
Yeah.
It's because Disney's a capitalist corporation, and he doesn't like it.
Like, can you imagine imagine it was a not capitalist setup. So it was a flat hierarchy, whatever you want to call it. And
horizontal hierarchy.
Like, what would you say? Everyone did a great job. It's like, well, no, everyone's still specialized. You can't have the director being the key grip and the guy who gets lunch for everyone. Like, it's not, hey, Bob, thanks for catering. That was amazing. You really made the film. Like, what?
The guy who cleaned out the portable loos, without you, this film couldn't have been made. You saved us all. Also, sorry about Taco Tuesday. It's not.
It's just this bizarre. Like, credit where credit is due. The guy with all the vision and the risk and working 20-hour days. Yeah.
You know what the credit that the people who make the film get? It's called their paycheck.
Right. And
that's the thanks. That's the thanks they really get. They get paid.
And in production, you will notice people who are on a budget or who are on a time limit, and they will put in the extra hours. And usually, not all the time, but usually the guys in charge will notice that. It's like, wow, you guys worked 16-hour days. I'm going to help you out because that was not fair to you. Here's bonus pay, time and a half, whatever.
Yeah.
Because that's all they could really, like, what else could they do? Like, give them a bonus? Like, yeah, of course, they'll give them a bonus. They'll give them something nice parting gift when the production's over, whatever. But they're not going to give them royalties. They're like, here's a car. Like, no, it's just...
Here's 20% of the box office, Brian. That was some real good camera work you did.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
You're a cog in a giant machine just like me. I'm just a slightly bigger cog.
Yeah.
That's about it, yeah.
He's just jealous that he's not a bigger cog.
I don't know. This is such
not
obvious,
a bigger what?
obvious organizational stuff that throughout any system in humanity, school, work, kids just playing. I think there's a hierarchy and why there's a leader and why there's people following the leader. Very simple stuff.
Wisp, did you say cog just then? He wishes he was a bigger cog. Oh, that's all right. You cut out for me. I thought he wishes he was a bigger cock. I was like, what the hell are you on about? He's one of the biggest I know.
All right.
Finances. Kevin Feige undoubtedly had a major hand in making the MCU what it is today due to his position within Marvel Studios, but the shift from giving far greater credit to a producer than to writers, directors, and other creatives working in the industry is both telling of our shifting priorities and arguably...
Whose priorities?
What the fuck are you on about?
First off, whose priorities and which are they? I really want to know what that means to having multiple producers and directors in charge of whatever. That doesn't make sense.
Oh.
It's called
the last time
hiring
not
someone.
Thanking the key boy grip. I'm not praising him. The guy who holds the boom mic, I don't care. It just keep it out of shot. That's all we ask of you.
Mischaracterization of the primary reasons why movies end up being, well, good. Kevin Feige is not primarily responsible for the MCU movies being good. He is primarily responsible for the MCU movies being uniform, containing the same...
That is the same argument. You could say...
Uniform. Okay, yes.
Like, all these donuts were made exactly the same way. Are they good? Well, yes, they're good, but they're actually just uniformly okay. It's like, what? No. You either like them or you don't. Do you like the donut? Yeah. Is it consistently a good donut the second time you eat one? Yes. Then it's a good donut. The process is the same.
The process is a success. It's not just uniform.
Yeah, we made a cake. It didn't burn. Is it good? It's a good cake. Yeah, but it's not actually a good cake. It's just the same thing they did yesterday. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's no good. It's just the same as all the other good things we've got.
Exactly. Logic.
style, cohesiveness, and even the same camera equipment used for each movie.
Wow.
That's not to downplay his involvement.
What? Yes, it is. You just said it's not good.
Jesus.
It's just consistent. Yeah, that's an element of being good.
Oh, you can tell why this cunt likes the sequel trilogy, can't you?
It's just bizarre. Consistency is...
what's with all this consistency? I like my films to be raving rants and
random quality all over the place. Yeah, that's great. Joe Crazy, thanks for the
carry on, someone.
Clearly, the credit should go to Susie, who brought the director his mocha. Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Can you imagine getting your award at the Academy and going, I really thank Susie. If it wasn't for her giving me that mocha at 8:05 every day.
But joke's on you, but Kathleen Kennedy, that's how her career started. Mm-hmm. She was serving coffee for Spielberg during, what was that? Temple of Doom.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. That was for her first credit.
Kept leaning into the chair and say, hey, Steven, maybe you should...
Yes. She kept going up in the ranks.
And her knees kept getting redder.
Mm-hmm.
Not like Nobunaga? Or what? No, the other guy.
Why do you keep talking?
the guy who became shogun. He started as a sandal carrier for the nobles.
Oh, yeah,
that
true.
guy. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and
but he was more Chad.
He forbade that anyone ever change his profession.
Oh.
Okay.
Interesting. But this is just,
He didn't actually do anything. He was just in charge of everything. Thanks.
Whoever complains about that has never been in charge of anything.
I don't know if he understands how businesses operate. There's a guy in charge.
He's a communist. Of course he doesn't understand how businesses operate.
The CEO takes on the risk, makes no money. And
I was about to ask, does he know business 101?
Yeah, I know.
No,
he was a teacher in North and South Korea.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That was it. There's nothing. He was teaching English.
Wait, no, it was North and South Korea.
Oh, were they teaching him English?
They were teaching him English for his next mission.
Because some of his definitions are strange, to say the least.
Yes.
Do you think he's a North Korean who had face surgery?
Oh,
yes.
That Bond film.
Would explain the lack of hair.
It's like that Bond, yeah.
Was it GoldenEye? I can't remember which one it was.
No, it's not GoldenEye. Jesus fucking Christ, Smud.
Goldfinger.
It was
just say random Bond movie.
He had those diamonds embedded in the guy's face or something.
Yeah, it's the last Pierce Brosnan movie, which is
Die Another Day?
No. I have no idea anymore. I once watched all Bond movies within a week. It's all a blur.
Is it Die Another Day? Is that the
Die
last
Another
one?
Day, yes.
Yeah, Die Another Day, yeah, because it was GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, and then Die Another Day. Yeah.
Apparently, that's considered the worst Bond film ever.
Well, not a lot of people
Before
have seen No
Drake, you
Time to
mean?
Die.
Okay. That's
This
the,
last one,
Solus
I've heard
was crap.
this last one. I've not heard one positive thing about it from anybody.
Well, it ends. Yeah, I think that's pretty positive.
this
Oh,
one
yeah.
has Halle Berry in it, so I remember that one.
Yeah, and they have that. It's in that big ice castle thing,
Yeah.
and he's this.
It was
It's the one where
goofy.
he,
It was a very. It was the modern goofy Bond on compared
yeah.
to Moonraker.
Yeah, it's got the scene where he surfs on a tsunami.
With a parachute or
Yes.
something. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that
Oh
was
yeah.
so
But you know
bad.
what? I'd rather watch that again than the one with Bilbo Baggins as
Bilbo
Blofeld.
Baggins.
What?
As what? Wait, what? One with what? What?
I can't. I don't remember actor names well. It's always sometimes the actor, sometimes the role.
Yeah.
The last, the not anymore last Bond movie, the third one with Craig.
Okay. Skyfall.
Huh?
Skyfall.
No, not Skyfall.
The second one was
No,
Quantum of
Quantum of
Solace.
Solace.
Yeah.
You mean
The one at the end with where Bilbo Baggins drilled into Bond's head to remove his ability to remember things and people.
What?
Because I want to torture
Seriously?
you in overcomplicated ways.
That was Skyfall, yeah.
That was Skyfall.
Wait, okay, what's the one after Skyfall?
Spectre?
Spectre, yeah. That one's pretty dumb.
Okay, yeah, that was probably Spectre.
Probably Spectre, yeah. Okay.
That was
Right.
that was
Bilbo
horrible.
Baggins. I mean, what the new Bilbo Baggins? The old what? Martin Freeman?
Yes,
Is that him? He's in that one.
yes, he's Blofeld.
That's not.
No, that's not him.
That's Christopher Waltz.
That's not
Or Christoph Waltz.
Christopher Walken. How do you not know?
I watched this
what
movie
happened?
once in the cinema and it was bullshit.
I remember it was Monica Bellucci in that one. That was pretty memorable.
I have no intention to
confirmed.
watch
Whisp
it again.
hates the Austrians.
Yeah. Oh my god. How did you not know that was Christopher? What you two are like.
Why
pretty
would
much
I
similar.
care? I had no intention to ever watch that again.
Oh, I'd watch it
But how
again.
do you think?
I
How
can't
did you-
and I can't remember faces for fuck's sake.
You got Monica
Hail
Bellucci.
autism.
You watch it. It's always awesome.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. I just. No wonder I was confused. I was like, Bilbo fucking Baggins. What are you on about?
I was like, wait a second.
Why- Hold on.
I thought you were like mistaking it for Black Panther because
Yeah.
Bilbo Baggins actor does play some guy.
Martin Freeman. His name's Martin Freeman. Why can't people just remember?
I sometimes can.
Ian Holmes is Bilbo Baggins.
At
Anyway.
random moments.
All right. Anyway, back to this wonderful shtick on.
We've only got 5 minutes left
Yeah.
anyway, so.
Which has been quite an undertaking, but that is a more realistic credit to Feige's actual mark left on the MCU. The other problem with the line of thinking that lays credit solely at the feet of Kevin Feige for the MCU movies being any good is the presumption that these movies are, in fact, good in the first place.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Obviously, a lot of this is subjective, but it might be more accurate to say that the MCU movies are successful rather than exceptional. They are
So does that mean they're good? What? He changed the quality. He's like, is it good or is it exceptional? It's like, well, it's successful. Okay. And how does that relate to your first premise? Like, could be. Yeah. Logic. Connect the dots, sir, please. A follows B? No. Oh, this is great.
possible
This is
action
getting
movies
stupid.
with a handful of entries that rise above that median, or are so grand in scale that they become, at least, very satisfying.
So good.
Hmm.
I'm trying to interpret his words. Does satisfying now mean good to him? Like, what? He's making up all these new terms. Okay, dude.
Satisfying treason.
I just.
It's like, Hawk, do you like this film? It's satisfying. Do you mean you enjoy it? It's okay. It's like, no, give me a straight answer.
No. But if you're like a loyal fan of the studio, then it's treason.
Oh god.
I don't know. I'm just like, I don't even know what he's on about. I'm just slowly losing my mind. He's not making sense. He's changing meanings of words, and he's
Usually you have a scale, but like bad, very bad, horrible, and then you go up the scale. It's like okay, reasonable,
satisfying.
Yeah, like there's a scale. You use words. You have words for a purpose. Was what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you don't just say it's bad. They're not that good, but they're satisfying.
Yeah, it's like, what?
They're all right, then.
So good means like it's better than 50% or 51%. So it's in the range between 51 and 100. Like it's one of those, right?
You don't say, oh, that meal was so satisfying, it was disgusting. I'm not going to eat that again. No.
Yeah, the horror film was satisfying because I got a lot of blood and gore, but it was absolutely stupid and a waste of my time. Like, what?
The film was satisfying, but I found it adequate in other places. What? Okay.
It was satisfactory. Like, oh, okay.
MCU is an achievement in organization more than filmmaking, which is another reason why an executive producer is given more credit than the accomplished creative heads who helmed its most popular entries.
Okay, so he's saying it's a big production that's complicated and therefore impressive to know it exists, that it got accomplished. You're like, yes, I agree. The MCU was huge. It took decades. It took millions and millions of dollars, lots of effort, lots of time. That's amazing. I'm impressed by that. I haven't watched them all, but just on the sheer scale and the scope to get from A to Z, that's impressive. And he's saying, I agree. Like, I agree too. But to say individuals or they're all bad as in general is like, wait a second. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Be specific and why. You can't just make these blanket statements. It's like you have a series of 12 movies and they're all satisfactory, right? Or whatever you want to call them. But combined, it's impressive. It's
they're all slightly below perfect.
Yeah, it's
terrible, honestly.
It's like you have Tolkien or some other big fantasy writer who makes like an epic and there's like, 20 or 30 episodes and they all suck. But together, they're amazing. Okay.
All three of the Lord of the Rings books are absolutely terrible, but on the whole, the series is quite satisfying. What?
It's a strange thing to say. I just say this movie's good because X, this movie's good because Y, this movie's bad because, just give us your opinion.
Yeah.
And then as a whole, you go, yeah, it's pretty impressive that they got it all together.
Well, the sum is greater than its parts. And he is able to just only look at the good bits and ignore the masses of rubbish, and in his head then it becomes something terrible.
That would imply a gestalt that would answer the question that yes, the MCU is in fact good. But he is not saying that, so he will never say that. Anyway.
Are the Hobbit movies good if you take them all together?
No, they're not. Does that answer the question?
Honestly,
no.
just read the book. You're better off. You probably like it better. And it's shorter. It's like a mini version of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. I just three whole movies. Jesus Christ. No need.
All right.
Long story short, not much is lost by Sony and Disney having a falling out over profit sharing. Spider-Man starring Tom Holland will continue, and Sony is perfectly capable of hiring successful directors and writers for the next sequel. In fact, word is they want John Watts back for the third installment. He was only originally signed for a 2-picture deal, but he may be back. The only thing truly lost from the Sony-Disney divorce is that Spider-Man can no longer have awkward, small talk with Doctor Strange in a proposed 5th Avengers movie that has not even been announced yet. At the risk of being dismissive, so what? Disney's intellectual property within its shared universe is so vast that losing one character among hundreds will not diminish it.
It's just Spider-Man.
Disney recently acquired 20th Century Fox, which
Yeah, their most popular franchise ever.
Yeah, it's just the greatest Marvel character.
It won't matter. It's like, okay, it's like, oh, Batman, we can't write any more Batman stories. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Superman is now gone from DC.
Mhm.
Oh, boy.
gives them the films to the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and all related characters like Deadpool. They have an absurdly large library of characters from which to choose. The counter-argument that Disney should have everything is effectively cheerleading a monopoly.
They own it. It's not a monopoly.
No, oh, God. You fucking idiot. This is one whole thing. That these rights were distributed by themselves. You get this one, you get that one, you get that one over there. That was the mistake from the get-go. Because this whole universe is a whole universe. And that's the problem. Well, it's not a problem if you keep it whole. It becomes one if you do nonsense like this licensing bullshit. Where are the Fantastic Four? Shouldn't they be in the MCU?
Oh, yeah, but no one likes them because they keep sucking.
I want to see Galactus eat the planet.
Yeah, I know. It would have been nice. Anyway, this is so silly. This is such a silly argument.
Yeah.
Collect them all mentality that is extremely concerning both from Disney and its audience. Disney's massive gains in the box office market share, television market, and streaming market should give pause to even the most enthusiastic of corporate loyalists. Disney now owns somewhere between 35 to 40% of the market share.
Why is that bad?
Even at the low estimate is more than twice
as
much
irrelevant
as
to the argument.
It's bad because when the communist revolution starts, the government's going to have to buy out Disney.
Yeah, this is like saying, oh, most PC or most...
What are you talking about, buy out?
Most computers run Windows or something like that. You know, it's like, oh, it's horrible for competition. It's like, no. Have games suffered because Windows is the dominant software platform?
Yes.
Silence Whisp. No, but it's the major problem is I think he's just worried that Disney's going to become so powerful with everything that I don't know. To be brutally honest, I'm just bored now. I can't even be bothered to.
Yeah, with the diversity of entertainment, you're not going to please everyone, even within the same genre, as we've seen. So it's
Disney could buy 100% of entertainment. So what?
Yeah, and they still suck. They could still suck.
Yeah.
Or they could be amazing. Like it's really dependent on who the critics are and who the writers are. Because the critics can say this is good because of XYZ, even though it's a pile of crap. And the writers could be amazing. Like it really depends on how you market your thing. I don't care about I really don't care about the MCU. I am impressed by it. I like some scenes. Obviously, I've seen some films. I liked some of them. But as a whole, it doesn't really get me going.
Yeah.
It doesn't really impress me. There's other things to watch. I have so many books to read, so many games to play. Sometimes I just want to sleep. So I'm happiest probably just sitting back with a book and maybe some scotch and really warm slippers. I know it sounds weird, but I like warm feet. So I don't know. Entertainment.
Yeah. No, but it's like I'm in the same boat as you. It's a bit like, oh, the MCU's all this. I don't care. I don't really pay much attention to the MCU.
I'm glad it exists because it's a testament to a comic book I read like 30 years ago, which was cool.
Mm-hmm.
But the comic book was awesome. And I know, again, the adaptation argument, it's never as good as the book. So,
but I'm a bit like, well, the start of the MCU, they were doing something pretty impressive.
Yep,
now it's just, yeah.
I saw the first Avengers with everyone online. I loved it. It was great. It was very well done. It was very cleanly structured, and there's maybe one or two little technical things I was like, but other than that, Perfect. Fantastic film.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's a good basis to start an entire franchise. A very like if they could make a cinematic universe off The Princess Bride, I don't know how that would work, but I'd be in line. I'd be like, all right, let's do this. I want to see.
But the thing is, well, it's like Marvel's done it. No one else has really done it.
Yeah, exactly. It's too big.
Everyone else has failed.
It's
and it's
so complicated. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a formula and they worked with it, and it works for whatever reason, which I have not analyzed to find out because it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I just know it's multi-genre amalgamated stories with a continuous plot, which is amazing. I'm always impressed with that. Anyway.
Sometimes this level of market control or merger...
Don't you love the, what is this, fuchsia background? What is this?
It's
Is this green screen? I don't know. It's kind of terrifying, but okay.
is rejected by the United States Department of Justice, but both rejections and allowances are often politically motivated.
Okay.
For example, when AT&T tried to buy Time Warner
Oh,
recently...
no.
Didn't I say we'd mention Trump? Hey, look at that.
Completely unrelated. Thank you, Renegade Cut. That's great.
It's always the last 2 minutes.
What the fuck has Trump got to do with copyright Disney and Spider-Man?
Trump extended the copyright laws for Steamboat Willie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He signed into law.
Oh my god. Damn you, Orange Man, and your ability to extend copyright laws. The communists waved their fist angrily at the Orange Man. Ah.
Oh, boy.
Jesus fucking
Various
Christ.
media outlets reported that President Donald Trump pressured Gary Cohn, the former director of the National Economic Council, to tell the Justice Department to block AT&T's Time Warner deal. Time Warner owns CNN, a cable news channel that Trump believes is opposed to him. It also competes with Fox News, a cable news channel that
Believes?
provides Trump with more favorable coverage. The courts eventually sided with AT&T, but there have been many instances in which...
Oh, so it was irrelevant whatever Trump did. So what's your problem?
Trump did something. Nah.
This is so...
I don't like Trump.
What was the point of that?
Rabble.
If the end result is it didn't happen. Trump wanted to do something. It didn't happen. Why did you bring that up?
Trump bad.
Trump
Communist
owns
good.
Disney.
I don't get it. What is this?
This is just... let's just keep moving forward.
I am minutes away from having some scotch. I know.
And this bright
Yeah.
like pink color is like burning my eyes.
I know.
Yeah, it's just... Honestly, I'm just like... I got a massive headache now. I'm just
Please,
like...
let's go. Let's go.
the DOJ has more successfully blocked such acquisitions. Similarly, the Trump administration
please stop.
had no problem with Fox selling its movie and television intellectual property to Disney because Fox head honcho Rupert Murdoch is a personal friend to Trump.
Sure,
The
yeah.
Fox deal is considered
Yeah, exactly.
a horizontal merger because
Yeah,
both
yeah, he has a deal with the president at the time, so he could buy a bunch of things from Fox. I'm sure that's how this all happened. I'm sure.
If you think Trump is such a petty man, then maybe CNN shouldn't spread more lies about him than he is already. Paint him as more bad than he already is. It's like if you really want to tell people that Hitler is a bad man, you shouldn't tell them that he eats babies for breakfast.
This doesn't even make sense.
Because when
though.
they figure out that he doesn't eat babies for breakfast, they'll think, what else are you lying about?
So
And then they think he's not so bad.
So
It's your fault.
For whatever reason, Trump didn't like the merger between AT&T and Time Warner. That still went through. Okay. In this case, Trump did like the purchase of whatever. It's not a merger, whatever this is, but it went through as well. So what's the end result's the same. Two big companies bought out two smaller companies or whatever. And your point is, I don't like the end result was the same. Who cares?
Yeah, but Trump likes one, and that's bad.
And he had no power.
Whatever Trump likes is bad.
Yeah, but he had no power to control the outcome. So what's the difference?
Oh, you know that Renegade Cut, just whatever Trump likes is bad, regardless of if it's exactly the same thing that he likes. But
So if like Trump would say that like I love Renegade Cut, then Renegade Cut would kill himself.
Oh.
Possibly.
we can only hope.
No.
I'm just surprised that it didn't take Trump saying he liked that Rosenbaum for all the wokies to go crazy on a paedophile.
Oh.
What does this have to do with anything?
They're already walking around at demonstrations with pictures where that read "Our heroes" and have pictures of Rosenbaum and Huber or whoever the other idiot is.
Speaking of Marvel Cinematic Universe, Mark Ruffalo's really getting involved in it, isn't he?
Oh god.
Is he?
Oh yeah, he called Rosenbaum by his nickname and everything.
Jojo.
Yeah, Jojo, and you're like, what, Mark? Jesus.
What?
Yeah.
Chill. Yeah.
Weren't those the guys?
He calls pedophiles by their nicknames.
Weren't those the guys who wanted to eliminate the police? And there we have an example of Kyle who's defending his own community without the police. Like, wouldn't they cheer him on?
But the problem is, Smud, is that Rosenbaum was an upstanding paedophile. He was a true member of the left community.
I just don't grasp this logic. Like, they see this person who defends a community.
No, the problem is, Smud, that Rosenbaum is who they wish they could be half the man Rosenbaum was. If they could touch at least half the children that Rosenbaum did, they'd live happy lives. Mark Ruffalo cries at the fact he's only got 3. Rosenbaum's beating him on 5.
Okay.
Are those real numbers on Rosenbaum?
Rosenbaum only raped 5 children, of which he was convicted.
5?
But 5, yes. 5 young boys, yes.
5?
Yes.
Usually, with convicted pedophiles, I expect 1, but 5?
Oh yeah, 5, yeah.
How do you get to 5?
Well, you go one more.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Did he murder them afterwards, or why did no one speak up?
Why
did he do this? Was he a garden teacher or something?
Who'd you speak to?
I know.
Everyone seems to be supporting
the Jehovah's Witnesses, but that's a cult issue. Well, this is an individual.
He died for his sins.
Yeah.
I hope so.
He did get arrested.
Jesus.
He was like released. It's like you can look at his like rap sheet.
Why do you really? How can you release some? What is the sentence on that?
I don't know.
5 times.
Anyway,
To be honest with
guys.
you,
How can you be set free again after that?
I can't answer. I can't answer the questions.
Doesn't America have this thing where you get
I don't
50
know.
life sentences, and if you
part of the
get
culture.
pardoned by 1, you still have the other 4?
Wisp, I'm British. I can't answer your questions on American justice systems. It's not possible.
I only dress
it's
up
a
as
problem
George
in every
Washington.
country that the penalties for pedophilia for pedophile acts are laughable compared to anything else.
But to be honest with you, we sort of like stopped paying attention to American law in about 1776. To be honest, over here, nothing else we can do. It's just...
What the hell?
Anyway, let's get this over with.
Yeah.
Disney and 20th Century Fox were in the same business, making movies and television shows as entertainment. The Department of Justice usually considers this a serious antitrust concern, but in this case, and with this president, it happened painlessly and without interference by the government. The Fox acquisition has resulted...
Which means the president was irrelevant, because the president is part of the government, so why did you bring it up?
Because fuck Trump. That's literally it.
It's just like, the government has no influence with the laws, like, you're right. So, what's your point?
in thousands of layoffs and cut Fox's upcoming film schedule roughly in half. This means fewer jobs and fewer movies for the consumer. When Disney loyalists shout from the rooftops that the Fantastic Four are free at last, it rings hollow when compared to the staggering loss of employment and loss of options at the box office. Disney does...
Wait. He's complaining a mega corporation is cutting jobs, therefore less people can have work.
And less movies are gonna be made. Oh no.
I thought he wants these companies to be smaller. What does he want?
And he had problems with like company loyalists as well.
Yeah, so which
He
way?
seems to be very loyal to Sony, to be honest
I
with you.
don't
At this
know.
point.
What does he want? If it gets smaller, it loses money, and therefore it makes less profit, and so it has less jobs, which is bad. But if it gets too big, it becomes a monopoly. Which one is it? Is this?
I honestly can't grasp my head over this.
Fuck Trump.
Well, yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
There's no argument here.
These two mega corporations each had the same goal. They achieved it. The government had no involvement, and Trump said a bunch of shit. It's like, and?
The world we live in. Oh, God.
Logic.
Vicious.
Where are we going with this line of thinking? I don't know.
Technically have a monopoly, but it is growing ever closer to that designation.
No, it's not. You said they reduced their size. What are you talking about? They cut jobs. Is that a monopoly?
How can you...
When I have a monopoly, I cut jobs, guys. I cut production. I just sort of coast on nothing. I just...
Yes, it's like a game of Monopoly. You try to get as little as possible. That's how I play Monopoly.
Yeah. What the hell?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
When a private industry has more of the market, they can charge more to the consumer, which is exactly what happened following the...
Okay, he's talking about if you have
What?
a monopoly, technically, yes, you can control the price of things. However, historically, that never works. The only time you have an actual classical monopoly is if the government is involved. And they're the
You
monopoly.
mean like in communism?
Yeah, that's a pretty good example, yeah. We could talk about specific things made by, like, was it the Trabant? That government-created car? That was a monopoly. Like, there's all kinds of things we could talk about from the government, but actual, real monopolies do not exist in a capitalist environment that I can remember or I can think of.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't happen. There's always going to be competition, and they're always going to have either a knockoff or an alternative which is cheaper. That's how it works. It's like Krispy Kreme. Everyone loved Krispy Kreme for, like, was it 2-3 years? And then people were like, oh, this is too expensive, this is too fatty, this is unhealthy. I can go to Dunkin' Donuts, I can go to Tim Hortons, I can go to wherever.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, how did the MCU or Disney make these movies more expensive? Because the ticket prices here for the cinema cost all the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Disney doesn't control ticket prices.
Well, they can affect them by demanding more of a share or whatever.
Right.
But
same with the
in
average.
the end, it's up to the cinema how much they told on the customer, because they too know. Yeah, okay, you usually want to get something from it because not everyone's buying popcorn. Cinemas run on popcorn and other snacks, popcorn and drinks. Not really the ticket prices, but still you want you need a basic from the ticket prices. And if you push that too high, even cinema lovers will say, "What the fuck is this? I'm gonna stay home and pirate this."
Yeah, it's kind of like I look at the price of video games. What's the average price? Like $60?
Yeah.
I look at Cyberpunk. It's been out for almost more than a year, or just a year. It's $80 still.
No, not a chance.
I'm not buying. Yeah, I love to play it, but $80? No.
For that mess?
Oh, they recently went for €30 at least here.
Really?
The most expensive game
If
I've
you
recently
buy
bought.
it on Good Old Games.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
why.
The most expensive game I've bought in the last 3 years is I spent 60 quid on Greedfall, but I got the gold edition, so I bought extra stuff.
See, that's a fun
But,
game.
Yeah, but I had to get extra things for it. I wasn't going to pay 60 quid for a game that's been out for a couple of years.
Right.
I'm not going to spend £80 on Cyberpunk that's broken to hell and needed numerous patches just to make it just about playable. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
I will wait till it goes down in price, even though I have my brand new video card from this year just for the game. But it's like, I can wait. I'm cool.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
Wait until it goes down to $5.
Another 20
So
years.
next year.
Maybe. I don't know how long it takes. Yeah. How many patches have come
Yeah.
out?
I'll give them another year.
Another year? Okay. That's pretty charitable. Anyway. Less than a minute. Oh, no, a minute and a bit.
Mentioned AT&T Time Warner merger. Prices went up. Is the same reason your hot dog at the sports stadium,
No,
or your
it's
not.
popcorn at a
No,
movie
it's not.
theater, or your chimichanga at Disney World
No.
costs so much?
No, what the?
Because
Okay, prices go up and down all the time. It's like saying, well, there's a merger, therefore the stock price went up, and therefore all their products are going to go. It's like, no. There are dozens, if not hundreds of reasons why prices go up and down in a certain region.
It's called inflation.
Inflation's one of them. There's all kinds of factors. Like if you talk about the stock, like I hate when people use stock market analogies. Oh, this person's the president. This caused the stock market to go up. It's like, yeah, kinda. Maybe for that hour. Maybe in a certain part of the world, but not for the rest of the day of trading.
I remember when Brexit affected the stock market for a day.
Yeah. Whenever
5 years ago.
Whenever the Federal Reserve says something, then that has a more lasting impact because they realize that they're the ones who actually control the money supply. So that has a much larger impact. And same with interest rates, lending of last resort, like all these factors involved in how you could take out a loan and get a mortgage or whatever. Those are big things that you have to worry about.
Yeah.
But presidents saying stuff, it's just like, yeah, for that day.
The president saying stuff does not affect the price of hot dogs at Disney World. Just gonna say.
The failure of the Star Wars franchise is what caused the price of whatever at their theme parks to be whatever, and then the closure of said theme parks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
they can, because there is no other option once you're inside. Under a monopoly, the industry can do and charge whatever it wants.
No, yeah.
A merger of this magnitude is not good for the consumer, and certainly not good for the workers.
Why?
If the Fox workers even have jobs under the new reign of Disney, they now have fewer options in their industry should Disney mistreat them or not pay them as well as they should.
So if a big company buys a smaller production company to make stuff, how does that make less jobs? When you want to make more stuff or provide more services, whatever you're doing.
Oh, because like he read that news articles that they were laying off some people, but it didn't.
That happens every year. That happens every year.
They didn't clarify that they didn't open new positions.
Yeah, the guys, any big media company, even like the ones in Canada, they have every before tax season they will cut their losses. They say, okay, what's going to happen that we can have a capital loss? Because what you do with a capital loss is you put it on your taxes so you don't have to pay as much. And they do that with every department. It's not just personnel, it's resources, it's accounting, it's everything. Every smart company does this, especially in media.
It's pruning season.
Yeah, it's pretty much, okay, what do we need? What can we get rid of that'll save us money? Bob, we just hired him last week. Okay, Bob, sorry, you're the youngest one here. We apologize.
Last one in, first one out.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the other way around.
It's also a good opportunity to get rid of those people who always just make a fuss, complain, bitch around, stand in the way, keep others from working, but don't actually work themselves.
Yeah, depending on the nature of the seniority, because it could be the opposite culture, because you've been here for 29 years. As soon as you hit 30, you're going to get way more benefits. We can't afford that in your insurance policy. We're going to cut you now. You're 57 or whatever. You've been here for blah, blah, blah. Your time to retire, buddy. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for all your long service. And you're like, you cut me out with a fucking watch.
The crematorium is over there. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of ways businesses save on taxes and do their business.
Yeah. When I used to work for the council where I used to live, we used to call it pruning season because it just used to prune away all the unwanted stuff.
Every industry does this.
Yeah. In Japan, they call it restructuring.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, we're almost done. Let's go.
All right.
That's capitalism, baby. An economic system that inevitably builds toward incredible private ownership.
It's not an economic system. What are you even talking about? How do we get from a bunch of companies buying other companies as an economic system?
Oh, I don't care.
Any corporate entity in any economic system is still a corporate entity buying and selling whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Makes no difference. Unless there's some rules with a different economic system where it's different. Like, what would be the difference? The government owns some of this, which you are buying or selling. It's like, so?
Yep.
They're still going to buy and sell something. You can't just have stop. You can't just stop trading. This is communist Russia. You cannot trade on stock markets. Like, what? No.
Yeah. Even communist Russia trades on the stock market.
Yeah, I personally know communists in their 20s who play around on the stock market all the time and make money. And I thought, what? Isn't that a bit hypocritical?
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm just exploiting the capitalist system to use it against itself. It's a nice new computer you have there.
Yeah.
How could you afford that?
Like, what economic model would not have buying and selling? Like, what are you talking about?
Taking and grabbing is the new economic system.
I can only imagine there's going to be a limit on your buying and selling. Like, that would be it. Like, okay, you can't buy $1 million corporation. You can't do that. It's like, why not?
You can only buy a $10 corporation. You have a cap limit.
Like, I don't mind these arguments. I just want to know what the actual clause is where capitalist does X, but in this system we do Y. And you're like, okay, how is that a bad thing? I don't know.
Let's just finish this off.
Yeah, okay.
That bestows obscene power in very few people at the top. With great power comes great
shut the fuck up.
Sony is
tell
no
that to your
angel
communist
either, but
leaders,
Disney
you
losing
idiot.
even the tiniest bit of power in its industry is not a bad thing. And no amount of awkward Doctor Strange scenes will ever be more important than keeping an emerging monopoly in check.
What the fuck?
You're trying to tell me
Oh, thank God for that.
Disney is emerging monopoly?
Emerging.
Yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, great. Yeah. I'm gonna say yeah.
What the hell is he talking about?
Fucking hell.
Please tell me there's no stream beams. I want to go get some drinks.
There's one or two.
There's one or two. All right, let's check it out. Yeah, I can't imagine anyone having any fun with this guy.
How did you have fun with this guy?
Well, making a meme to have fun.
He
Yeah.
sucks all the energy out,
just
of,
like,
out of
bleh.
anything.
All right. Who's this from? SSJ4 Zeno Gugeta. Okay. Renegade. Woke Western Studios fans. I'll never forgive the Americans. Whisp, what'd you give us? Politics. Freeman is.
I looked up Martin Freeman, whether he's been in a Bond movie or
Oh,
not.
yeah.
Bilbo Baggins?
And there was this little snippet about politics. And it's
Oh
reads,
God.
Freeman is a supporter of the Labour Party As a
Ugh.
teenager, he supported the now defunct political group Militant. Snippet: the Militant Tendency, or Militant, was a Trotskyist group in the British Labour Party, organized around the Militant newspaper, which launched in 1964, etc., etc. According to Michael Zirk, its politics were based on the thoughts of Karl Marx, Friedrich Engels, Vladimir Lenin, Leon Trotsky, and virtually nobody else. And volunteered with the Labour Party Young Socialists. Oh, like the German.
Oh my god.
In 2015, he appeared in a party political broadcast to endorse the Labour Party ahead of the 2015 UK general election. In August 2015, Freeman was a supporter of Jeremy Corbyn's campaign. Okay.
Ah, Bilbo. What a great guy.
Jesus fucking well.
Well, I
our
would just
heroes.
prefer like Mr. Home instead. Yeah. Even that, he's better than this.
The Trotsky is holy shit.
Trotsky, of all the
can't make it up.
socialists.
He had to pick Ice Pick Boy, didn't he?
Gotta pick the loser.
Okay, well that was less painful than I thought. Still pretty stupid, but you know, what are you gonna do? Renegade Cut. What a guy. Just keep in mind, we got Friday rolling down. It's gonna be fun. Don't know what's happening. Dunn's trying to message me. I don't know what Dunn's doing, but he's probably nagging me about something about Renegade Cut.
See lost about what fish video to choose?
Yeah, who knows? I don't know.
Did he run out of bearable ones?
They're all amazing. All of Maggie's videos are incredible. They're just hard to grasp. Anyway, boy, that was fun. I really need a drink because
I have got to go to bed. This headache has got so much worse.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you real soon. Hopefully, we'll have another video before Friday. I don't know. We'll find out. Have a great one.
Have a good time.
Good night.
Good night.